You wake up every single day. You face the exact same exhausting financial battle. You sprint at absolute top speed, yet your biggest goals remain completely out of reach. This intense effort feels totally disconnected from your actual bank balance. It creates a quiet frustration that slowly drains your motivation. But in this explainer, we will uncover something huge. This suffocating feeling is absolutely not a permanent trap.
So, let's dive into this incredibly awkward financial gray zone. Your bank balance isn't small enough to trigger absolute despair, but it's definitely not big enough to fund a luxury yacht. You just stare at that digital screen. You wait for a sudden miracle that never actually arrives. You are literally the only engine pushing your life forward. You push through dead calm waters. It honestly feels like you're trapped in this dull, unrewarding middle. Exhausting days turn into long months, those months turn into agonizing years, and you feel entirely alone in this silent struggle.
You've done all the right things for years now. You cut back on takeout, you bought those boring index funds, you even pretended to enjoy the rigid restrictions of a strict monthly budget. Basically, you played by all the rules. Yet, the financial rewards just feel genuinely insulting. You get 20 bucks here, maybe you get 40 bucks there. It feels exactly like a mildly pleasant pat on the head. You start to genuinely wonder if this massive sacrifice is even worth it. But listen, you're likely judging your own progress way too early. There is a very specific threshold where your money fundamentally stops being a burden. That magical threshold is roughly $250,000. 1. Having $250,000 invested is your literal turning point. This is the exact mathematical moment when your market returns actually match your savings rate. This is exactly where the heavy weight finally shifts for good. That giant boulder suddenly stops rolling over you. It actually starts rolling downhill. 1. You finally transition from mere survival mode to genuine, unstoppable momentum. We falsely judge our progress way too early. This is simply because money is fundamentally nonlinear. As the saying goes, money is moody, slow, and downright boring until suddenly it isn't. Think about how discouraging the early stages of building absolutely anything can be. Workouts show zero visible results during those painful first few weeks. Savings accounts grow at a pace mimicking extremely slow continental drift. You simply cannot judge the entire story by its incredibly slow beginning. You must have the fierce patience to just wait for that inevitable explosion. This brings us to our first core principle, the silent coworker. Crossing this financial threshold is when your portfolio transforms completely from a fragile burden into a highly productive partner. 1. You will finally feel like you have a powerful second engine working right alongside your physical effort. 1. You are definitely no longer chasing money blindly behind every dark corner. Before hitting this crucial point, your money behaves exactly like a dying houseplant. It is this fragile little thing you constantly forget to water. It demands your endless attention. It constantly threatens to wither away completely. But man, at $250,000, it totally starts acting like a dedicated coworker. This silent colleague just quietly does half your job without ever complaining. It never asks for a raise. It never ever takes a single vacation. It just wakes up every single day and generates real, measurable value. Your hard effort is finally being matched by the capital you built.
The abstract math of compounding finally becomes a highly tangible reality here. You actually start seeing roughly $20,000 a year in real returns. This assumes a standard 8% market growth. Guys, this is not just random latte money. This is actual, real bill-paying money. You quickly realize you are no longer the only one rowing this boat. There's a whole other pair of oars dipping into the water right beside you. The heavy, crushing burden of financial survival is finally shared with an untiring partner. Your financial life rapidly shifts from pure defense to absolute, undeniable offense. You actually start winning the game you previously felt you were losing.
Next up is our second core principle, known as psychological oxygen. The profound emotional relief of hitting this specific milestone actually outshines the financial math on paper. 1. When your money finally starts producing its own money, your anxious mind relaxes completely for the very first time in decades. 1. That constant, exhausting background hum of stress completely vanishes from your daily life. 1. Instantly, you start asking yourself entirely different questions about your future. You stop constantly worrying if you can afford things. You stop panicking over market dips. Deep within, you begin to actually dream about what you want your life to look like. Your mind wonders what could be built if terror was no longer sitting in the driver's seat. Endless possibilities suddenly appear in place of tightly restricted, suffocating limits.
The entire world opens up when deep financial fear no longer dictates your daily choices. Ultimately, you completely reclaim the power to design your own beautiful existence.
Now, let's be real, this specific sum doesn't make you wildly rich overnight, but it buys you the absolute ultimate leverage, which is true optionality. A demanding, soul-crushing job you assumed you had to endure forever becomes completely optional. You gain massive, undeniable leverage over your own time and your daily choices. It simply gives you that essential room to breathe and clearly navigate the trail ahead. You are definitely no longer sprinting blindly toward a terrifying and absolute financial cliff. The future transforms from a source of dread into a brilliant, wide-open canvas of opportunity.
This leads directly to our third core principle, called the boring foundation. You must survive the painfully slow phase of early wealth building to achieve this ultimate freedom. Most people simply quit in the invisible middle when things feel completely stagnant. But these quiet, invisible years are exactly when your essential foundation is securely poured.
Non-linear growth can feel completely agonizing when you're experiencing it in reality. In the very first year, your momentum is barely crawling upward. By year 5, you are trapped deep in that frustrating, invisible middle phase. It genuinely feels like your intense daily sacrifices are yielding absolutely zero meaningful results. But then, by year 10, you hit that exponential spike where everything rapidly accelerates. You see, the desperately slow part is not a fundamental flaw. It is the entire point. This is literally the universe ruthlessly testing your resolve before handing over the keys. You just have to pass this quiet test to earn your ultimate freedom. So the absolutely crucial point here is that true wealth is never about luck. It is entirely about sticking with the slow part long enough to actually reach the accelerating part. 1. The great financial empires out there are never built in a single lucky day. 1. They are the direct result of brutal discipline slowly transforming into absolute unbreakable freedom. 1. That heavy boulder will eventually roll downhill if you simply keep pushing forward. Every small contribution is a heavy stone in your future impenetrable financial fortress. 1. The slow grind is just forging you into someone who can actually handle real wealth. You are simply building the engine today so that the part where your financial freedom truly roars to life can follow tomorrow.